Hello and welcome to another tutorial from GR Academy. In this video, we will learn about how to make Excel charts dynamic. For demonstration, here we have the sinusoidal and cosine waves from 0 to 720 degrees. First of all, we will make the range of the chart dynamic through drop-downs so that we can set the start and end points for the chart. Suppose we would like to view the waveforms only up to 360 degrees. We can set the end point to 360 degrees and the chart range will update automatically. This can also serve as a zoom in or zoom out option. That is, we can set our endpoints and zoom in only on the portion of the chart we are interested in. This can be of great help in cases where we have hundreds of rows of data, but we are only interested to view a small range of it. Secondly, we will include checkboxes for each variable so that we can switch on or switch off the variable of interest. Suppose we want to view only the cosine waveform. We can turn off the sinusoidal wave by unchecking the checkbox corresponding to the sine wave. You see that the chart now only has a cosine wave. Let's start from the beginning and learn how to add these dynamic features in our charts. To make the charts, we need to set the daraa for sine and cosine waves. We will start with defining the angles from 0 to 720 degrees in steps of 30. We will input 0 in the first cell and then in the second cell add the formula equals previous cell plus 30. Then copy the formula by pressing Ctrl C and using shift and right arrow copy the formula till the end and press enter. Now the Excel's inbuilt sine and cosine functions take angles in radians as input, so we would have to convert the degrees to radians. We can make use of the Excel's inbuilt radians function for that as radians. Provide the degrees as input and copy the formula across. We now have the degrees converted to radians, which can go as input to the sine and cosine functions. So now we will input the sine function as sine, open bracket, and the argument will be the radians as calculated before, close bracket. Similarly, we can input the cosine function as cos and the corresponding radian value as argument. Then copy the formula across till the end. So now we have the data ready for the charts. To create the chart, we will select the sine and cosine arrays, click on Insert tab, and insert the line chart with markers. We'll make the chart a little bigger. In the chart title, we'll write trigonometric functions. And we'll make it bold. Now we want degrees in the horizontal axis. For that, right click on the chart, select data, and in the horizontal axis labels, click edit and choose the whole degrees range. Next, we'll add axis titles. For the x-axis, we'll write degrees, and for the vertical axis, we don't really need the axis title, so we'll delete it. Next, we can have the legends on the right side of the chart. Now this is my personal preference. You can have the legends wherever you want. And lastly, we'll add the grid lines, both vertical and horizontal. Let us define the start and end ranges for the chart. Because we want the chart to be dynamic, we should be able to select any value from the whole range of degrees from 0 to 720. We can use the drop down in the start and end values for that. Click on the cell where we want to input the drop down, go to Data tab, click on Data Validation, choose the list, and for the source, select the whole range of degrees. and click OK. We can now choose any value for the start range through the drop-down. Similarly, we can do this for the end value as well. Just copy the cell and paste it to the end value. So now we can set the input ranges for the chart dynamically. We need to define the arrays or the variables in the chart dynamically so that when we change the input range, the arrays should vary accordingly. We will use a little variance of the index match formula to achieve this. Please use the link at the end of the video for the tutorial on index match formula. We can get the start value for degrees by using the index formula as index. The array would be the whole degrees range. Press F4 to anchor it. Row number would be 1 as the array has only one row. And for the column number, we will use the match function as we want the position of the start degrees in the range. So match. Lookup value will be the start degrees. Press F4 to anchor it. Lookup array would be again the range of degrees where we want to find the start range. Press F4 and match type will be 0. Similarly, we can write the index match formula for the end value of the range as index. The lookup array would be the whole degrees range. Press F4 to anchor it. Row number would be 1. And for the column number, we'll use the match formula as match. Lookup value will be the end value. Press F4. Lookup array would be again the degrees range. Press F4 to anchor it. And match type will be 0. We can check the formula by changing the range and see that the degrees range is also changing with it. Now from the index match formula we have got the end values, but we need to have the whole range from the start to the end value. For that we will use the colon operator. The colon operator, when used with the index formula, provides a range of values. For using this, we will copy the index match formula from the start value, paste it here. I'll move the chart down so that we can see the formula. Then put a colon after the index match formula. And then we'll copy the index match formula from the end value and paste it after the colon. This formula provides a whole range between the start and end values of degrees, which we will see in a while, but before that we will do the same for both the sine and cosine arrays. For the start value of the sine array, we will use the index function as index. Lookup array would be the sine array. Press F4 to anchor it. Row number would be 1. Now for the column number, what we want is when the start value changes to 90 degrees, sine value should change to 1, or column number should change to corresponding degrees column. For that we can use the match function as match. Lookup value will be the start value. Press F4 to anchor it. Lookup array would be the degrees range. So it will provide the column number corresponding to the start value we set here. Press F4 to anchor it. And match type will be 0. Now when I change the start value to 90 degrees, we see that the degrees and sine function start values change accordingly. For the end value of the sine function, we can again use the index function as index. Lookup array would be the sine array. Press F4 to anchor it. Row number would be 1. And for the column number, we can again use the match function as match. Lookup value will be the end value. Press F4. Lookup array would be the degrees range. Press F4 to anchor it. And match type 0 again. Now let's combine the formula by copying the formula from the start value. Paste it here. put a colon, and then copy the formula from the end value and paste it after the colon. For the cosine function, I'll copy the start and end formulas for the sine function. Now when I click on the formula, I can just change the reference from the sine array to the cosine array, and rest will remain same, and press enter. We can check that for 60 degrees. The cosine value should be 0.5 and we are getting the same answer. We will do the same for the end value. Click on the formula and change the reference from the sine array to the cosine array. Now we will copy the formula in the start value, paste it here, put a colon, and then copy the formula from the end value and paste it next to the colon. To use the formula for dynamic arrays in the chart, we need to put these formulas in the named ranges, as these won't work in the Excel sheet. For that, I will copy the formula for degrees. Click on Formulas tab, Name Manager, click New. In the name, enter degrees, and in refers to, put equals and paste the formula. We can click on degrees and click on the formula and see that the range is highlighted automatically by XOR. And we can also check that our formula provides the right values from 60 to 600 degrees. We will do the same for the sine and cosine arrays. Copy the formula for sine, Name Manager, click New. In the name, enter sine, and in refers to, put equals and paste the formula. We can click on the sine formula and see that the highlighted region is the required array from 60 to 600 degrees. Similarly, copy the formula for cosine, click on Name Manager, New, enter cosine as the name, in refers to, put equals and paste the formula. Click on the formula for cosine and see our formula is working correctly from 60 to 600 degrees for the cosine array. Now we will add the named ranges in the chart. So right click on the chart, select daraa, choose sine, click edit, delete the series values and click anywhere on the sheet, delete the reference and write the name we assigned to the dynamic sine array, which was sine. Note that without the sheet reference the formula won't work, as the Excel chart only recognizes the name with reference to worksheet or workbook. Click OK. We will do the same for the cosine array. Choose cosine, click edit, remove the series values, click anywhere on the sheet, remove the reference and type cosine and click OK. Now for the horizontal axis labels, click edit, delete the label range, click anywhere on the sheet, remove the reference and write degrees and click OK. Now if we change the input range, we see that the chart updates automatically for the set range. For switching our variables on or off, we will include checkboxes for both sine and cosine arrays. To do that, go to Developer tab, click on Insert, and in Form Controls, choose the checkbox Form Control, and click on the worksheet, and the checkbox will appear. If you can't find the Developer tab in the ribbon, go to File, Options, click on Customize Ribbon, and check the checkbox corresponding to the Developer tab and it will appear on the ribbon. Right-click the checkbox and click on Edit Text to change the text to sign. Right-click again, click on Format Control, and for the cell link, I'll choose the cell E14 in my worksheet. You see, when I check or uncheck the checkbox, the cell reference changes to true or false. Now copy the checkbox and paste it and change the text to cosine. Right click and click on Format Control, and for the cell reference I'll choose the cell E16 in my worksheet. Now we have the checkboxes ready to toggle the variables. Now we need to slightly adjust our name ranges so that when the variables checkbox is unchecked, we do not see the variable on the chart. So we will go to the name manager again. I'll make it a little bigger so that we can see the whole formula. And in the sign formula, we will add if cell E14 equals true, then the formula as usual, else it should be 0. Similarly, for the cosine function, we will add if cell E16 equals true, then the formula as usual, else it should be 0. Let's check by unchecking the sine function. We see that the sine function is zeroed out. Similarly, if we uncheck the cosine function, we see that the cosine function is now zeroed out from the chart. I can also update the range to whatever values I am interested in. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to our channel for more updates. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Use the comment section below for any questions or feedbacks.